What's going on, everyone? This is Mr. Chris, and we're back for another sketch class. Today we'll be covering Hispanic heritage. Hispanic Heritage Month in the United States is from September 15 all the way to October 15. But Mr. Chris, why? ¿Por qué? Well, I'm glad you asked, Pedro. We celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month to honor the histories, cultures, and contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans, recognizing their impact on the United States. The celebration also highlights the rich diversity and cultural heritage of the 21 Spanish-speaking countries that share ties to the U.S. If you live in the United States, you'll know that we have a good population of Hispanics here in this country. And if you live where I lived in Florida or New York, you'll see an even bigger percentage than the rest of the country. Sometimes I forget that we're a minority group, to be honest. I made this worksheet of the 21 Hispanic countries and their flags. I left them blank because I want to see how many of these you know. So throughout the class, write the ones that you can identify, and then at the end, I'm going to share all the answers with you. I want to see if anybody knows all of the countries. Okay, and when we think about Hispanic countries, when we think about Hispanic people, and when we think about Hispanic culture, what's the one word that comes to mind? I'll let you think about it. Have you thought about it? You got it? Okay, here's the one word. Color. There is so much color in Hispanic countries. We find color in the people, in the buildings, in the landscapes, in the food. Hispanics love color. And that's what's going to make today's art class that much more exciting. Today, we'll be replicating this painting by Francisco Oller, and it's titled Plátanos Amarillos. Plantains are a key ingredient to a lot of Hispanic dishes. Like, for example, I'm from Puerto Rico, and we use plantains to make mofongo. My best friend is Dominican, and they use plantains to make mangú. And so many different Hispanic countries all make plátano maduro, which is sweet plantains. Hispanics love plátanos. So let's get ready to sketch this together. Grab a pen, a pencil, markers, color pencils, crayons, or a tablet, and let's get started. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, it doesn't matter if you have crayons, colored pencils, markers, a tablet, traditional, digital. It doesn't matter at all. I'm only using digital because it makes it easier for me to share with you. But this can be done with colored pencils or anything else. What I recommend is to first start off with yellow. I recommend starting with yellow because it's the brightest color, it's the lightest color, and you can always go over it again with brown or green later on. So we're going to be doing the whole sketch in yellow, and then we're going to apply more colors to it as we go. So let's go ahead and start from the top. These plantains are held up by a rope. So we're going to draw a line that comes straight down from the top and then make a little knot right here where the root of the plátanos are. Then we're going to draw the rest of the root over here. So this is just a curve. It's just a curve. Remember, we're using all the 3D shapes that we already learned and applying it to this drawing. Okay? So we have a string coming down from the top, and we have a curve for the plátanos. Okay? Now, the stem breaks up into 3 little branches, and that's how they connect to the plantains. Okay, so I have the 3 stems. Now what I'm going to do is start building out these bananas. So here's one banana. Remember, guys, these bananas are essentially just cylinders. They're just cylinders. And we learned about cylinders, so we should be able to draw these. Don't get overwhelmed with the amount of bananas. Don't think about how hard it's going to be. It's not hard, guys. All we're doing is drawing cylinders. And if you focus on one cylinder at a time, then you'll be able to get it. Okay? So we drew the first cylinder up at the top. Then we have another cylinder right next to it. We're going to draw a curved cylinder right next to that. Okay? The tip of the banana comes out this way. Okay? Then we have another piece of banana that comes out this way. All we're doing right now is blocking out the shapes. Don't worry about which one's green, which one's yellow, because we'll be covering all of that later. Right now, we're just blocking out shapes. Okay, to my right, we have another plantain that comes out this way. Just a cylinder. There's one plantain that's hidden in the back. We're just going to draw this curve here lightly. Okay? All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plantains so far. Next, right under the tip of this banana over here, we have a green plantain this way. Sorry, guys, I keep saying banana, but I mean plantain. Plantain's a type of banana, right? Okay, we're going to go over to the right side. There's a plantain that comes out this way. Okay, there's a plantain that kind of is tucked behind here. And then we have a few plantains down below here. So I'm going to draw a curve here. I'm going to draw one plantain over here. Okay. I'm going to draw one on the left side. I'm just going to draw a curve this way. And then another point this way. Next to this plantain is another plantain. So we're going to draw that curve. Okay. There's one plantain that comes out this way. Guys, feel free to cover the logo. That's perfectly okay. Okay. Now we have 4 more bananas. 4 more plantains. So we got one that comes out kind of to the front this way. And then we have 3 that are kind of hidden back here. So we have 1, 2, and then the final one, 3. There is our plantains. See, that wasn't hard. So now we can go back and slowly add color to all of these. So what I would highly recommend is you start with a light yellow and then slowly get darker as you find the other colors. So I'm going to go ahead and color the tops of these bananas over here. I'm going to start with this light yellow. I'm going to go ahead and color everything in, even the green ones. Because if you look, the green ones underneath have a light hint of yellow. A very light hint of yellow. We're just coloring all of our plantains. If you have to adjust, go ahead and adjust. I'm going to adjust this one over here because I feel like I made it a bit too, yeah, there we go. That's much better. Okay. We have another plantain over here. Color that in. It might look a little messy, but don't worry about that. Remember what I always say, commit to the cringe. Commit to the cringe. And what commit to the cringe means is simply that as you're drawing, it might look bad, but if you continue pushing through, you're going to be quite surprised with the results. Another thing is that when you commit to the cringe, you actually finish your artwork. I know we're all guilty of throwing away art that's not complete, and that doesn't do anything for us. We have to commit to our designs so that we can get better. But if we're constantly throwing away art, then we're never going to get better because we're literally teaching ourselves to quit. And I don't want you to quit. I want you to commit to the cringe. Okay, so after you color every single banana, every single plantain yellow, now you can go back and add darker yellow for the shadows. So after we go through and color all of the plantains yellow, now we get to color green. Find the right green. I recommend doing this very lightly so that you can slowly add color with time. Okay? So this back one over here is green. The one to this side is green. Yep. Just like that. The one down here is green. All of these down below are green. This one is green. Again, we're going very lightly because then we'll go back and add more color. But if you add a bunch of color at the beginning, then you won't be able to go in and define the shadows and the highlights and all that other good stuff. Okay. More green over here. Darker over here. And this is the last green plantain. Okay, cool. It's already starting to take shape. So, what I want to do now is I want to darken up my green. If you have colored pencils, now it's time to go in and color a little bit darker. If you have crayons, now it's time to color a little bit darker. I always recommend to start off light. That way, you can slowly build in the shadows. Okay? Just going in, now adding all the shadows. We'll be doing the same thing to the yellows as well. Okay, I'm going to keep adding these shadows here. The key to a nice drawing, a nice sketch, is all these contrasts. It's all these contrasts between light and dark. And the better you get these contrasts, the more realistic your artwork is going to look. Okay? Cool. There we go. Got some more color in there. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing with our yellows now. We're going to go in and make the yellows a little bit darker where the shadows are. Start off at the top. Next, I'm going to go here to this other side. Okay, I'm going to add shadows over here. Keep looking at your reference to make sure that you're coloring the right objects. That's why I included it there, so we don't get lost. All of these yellows and greens start looking like they're mixing with each other. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Now this one is interesting. The one that I'm coloring right now is interesting because it looks like it's actually almost changing into green. So I'm going to go in and add a little bit of green to that. Not a lot. Not a lot. Don't overdo it. But there is, in fact, a little bit of green in this one. Okay? Go back to the yellows. I'm going to color this one. This one's even darker back here. This one over here. Okay. Guys, you see how this is starting to take shape? Now, I want to get my stems too. So I'm going to go ahead and go to brown. And I'm going to start to make my stems brown as well. Just going to color right over that yellow. Slowly build your colors up. Don't add the colors right away. Start with yellow and then slowly build it up. Practice drawing lightly, sketching lightly. When you're using crayons, when you're using the colored pencils, go ahead and color lightly and then slowly build it up over time. Okay, I'm going to draw this knot over here because there's a knot that's holding the string together. Okay, I'm going to go for a darker brown because that's where the shadows are. Okay, and I'm going to color down here in that darker brown, especially when it comes to this knot. Okay, all right, that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. All right, let's continue with the yellows. I'm going to go in even darker. And I'm really going to start defining these shapes here. Okay. Okay, keep going. Don't give up, guys. Have patience. It's therapeutic. Getting in all of these shadings. This is the fun part of art, where you just get to kind of go on autopilot a little bit. Okay. I think I'm going to go back to my light yellow. Go over some colors over here. That way it's not all white. I'm just going back and filling it in with color the areas where I left it kind of white. Okay, and I actually need to do the same exact thing with the greens. I need to fill these in better. Make sure I don't leave any traces of white, of yellow or white. Take your time. You got this. I believe in you. We're doing it together. Okay. Let's see. Let's go in with an even darker brown, or really a darker yellow. Now we're really going to define some. There we go. That's the separation that we need. See how these contrasts bring separation into our figures? Without shadows and highlights, it seems as though these bananas are all mixing with each other. Also, by adding the shadows, it almost seems like the fruits are jumping off the paper. Start light and then slowly, slowly, slowly build up. That's the key. Okay? Let's go back to our greens and let's add a darker green. You see, these shadows help add separation. Okay. Good job, guys. Take your time. There's no rush. This is the time that we get to chill. We get to disconnect. And we get to just zone out and focus on our art. Art sometimes is the complete opposite of instant gratification. Okay. I'm going to add some green to this one over here in the front. But I am close to arriving my final stage. You can make this as perfect as you need it to be. For the sake of time, I'm not going to make mine completely perfect. Just going in and adding some really exaggerated browns in here to get these shadows. Okay. And I think I need the same thing with the green. You drop it to like a forest green. There we go. To really get the shadows I'm looking for. So you see how we started with yellow, then started building it up with the greens, and you see how the greens literally dominated right on top of that yellow, almost leaving no trace of it at all. And any traces that you do see is actually kind of nice, because a real plantain does have those remnants of yellow still there. Okay, going in and I'm adding my exaggerated shadows now. Without these shadows, it just kind of falls flat. These exaggerated shadows help to kind of lift the artwork right off the page. Okay? You know what? I'm pretty happy with this. I'm calling it. These are my bananas. Guys, you can take a little bit longer if you need to, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next section. Feel free to pause it if you need to. No rush. Take your time. This is your art class, and you enjoy how you need. If you want to spend more time on your plantains, spend more time on your plantains. But as for me, yeah, I'm calling it. Here is my rendition of this artwork of plantains. Great job, guys, sketching along with me. Now we're going to go through the 21 countries and their flags. At this moment, if you want more time to write down the names, go ahead and pause the video. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Haha. So first up, we have Argentina. Argentina is the blue, white, and blue stripes. Then we have red, yellow, and green. That's Bolivia. We got the red, white, and blue with the one solo star. That's Chile. If you find the yellow, blue, and red with no icons, that's Colombia. Blue, white, blue stripes, that's Costa Rica. You find a solo white star, red triangle, and 3 blue lines, that's Cuba. Not to get confused with Puerto Rico. Although the flags are the same, the colors are inverted. Cuba was actually the first one to make the flag, and Puerto Rico was inspired by Cuba's independence and also made the flag similar to them. Next, you have the 2 red squares and 2 blue squares. That's La República Dominicana, or Dominican Republic. Next, yellow, blue, and red again, but this time with an eagle icon in the middle. That's Ecuador. If you find a darker blue, white, darker blue lines, that's El Salvador. Not to get confused with Nicaragua. They're very similar, but you gotta pay attention to the symbols and the words around the symbols. Next, we have Equatorial Guinea, or Spanish Guinea. Fun fact, this is the only country in Africa that's Spanish speaking. After that, the red, yellow, and red is España. Followed by blue, white, blue, and that's Guatemala. Similar to the Argentina flag, but these ones are vertical. Next up, we have Honduras. Also similar to the Argentinian flag, but this one has 5 star icons in the middle. Next up, green, white, red. That's Mexico. Next, we have Nicaragua. If you find a navy blue square, a red square, a navy blue star with a red star, that's Panama. Next up, we have red, white, blue, and that's Paraguay. Next to that, red, white, red, that's Peru. Then we have my home country, Puerto Rico. Next up, the sun and the blue stripes, we have Uruguay. And last but definitely not least, yellow, blue, and red with the stars in the arch, that's Venezuela. Now, did anyone have them all? Okay, good job, Valentina. Oh man, thank you guys for learning about Hispanic heritage with me. Thank you for painting plátanos. Thank you for listing 21 Spanish-speaking countries. I had so much fun. I hope you had so much fun. Until next time, bye. Adios.